we came up with like 150 names.
So we threw them all into a Google Docs sheet. And I don't think it had been, oh man, I couldn't tell you the last time I laughed that hard in the car, coming up with these stupid names for bands.
Part of the fun.
It was a blast. So
Nice.
like, I mean, we're like, oh, what if we called ourselves Rectum Spectrum or George's Bush?
Stupid stuff.
Or
Heart.
Nolan and the Muff Divers.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, listeners, welcome back to the ZHZ Podcast.
I'm Matt Allen, and with me, as always, is Zak Davis. Today, we're excited to introduce our featured guest, Use of Man.
Formerly known as Slick Daddies, get ready as we explore their roots in Springville, their signature punk rock and reggae blend, and the creative journey that lies ahead.
Let's jump right into the conversation. Any Chump fans in the audience tonight, folks?
You guys remember Chump?
Who's that?
Chump? You never heard of Chump?
Chump was a
Chump.
rap band from Provo, man. Like, Provo,
that was before our time, dude.
For us.
man.
Yeah.
I'm not that
Not
old.
saying
I
you're
guess I am
old.
that old.
Wait, how?
I mean,
when? What years did they play?
They-
I came out in 09. That's when I migrated.
Yeah, it was before that, way
Yeah,
before that,
it was,
by about
shit.
10 years and change.
yeah.
Nolan's only 17 years old, so
He looks like it. He looks like it. I like your shirt, though, Nolan.
I'd card you for milk.
Yeah.
happy
Dig the shirt, though.
Happy late 311 day to you both.
Yeah,
of course.
That's all right.
Absolutely,
We'll
man.
carry-
To those who
we'll-
celebrate, which we do,
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll carry it
All day.
over.
and happy 30th anniversary of the Blue Album.
Heyo.
Do you guys have a favorite
That's
song
right.
off of the Blue Album? Because we have ours.
Yeah, you know what? I just have my favorite. So, like,
What is
that's,
your
that's
favorite?
all I have. Fuck the bullshit. It's time to throw down.
Yeah, dude, that's an OG.
Yeah.
Dude.
I like off of the. I really like Jack O' Lantern's
Blue
Weather
Album.
off of the Blue Album, and Brodels. But my all-time favorite 311 song is "Offbeat Bare Ass."
Yes.
Oh man, seeing that song live is life changing.
Oh right.
Many different people can
Well, and
apply
then,
to
and then
drum.
how many people are ready to throw joints on the stage?
We have Slick Daddies in the house tonight. Welcome, gentlemen.
What's up?
It's good seeing you guys.
Welcome in,
Finally
boys.
being able to catch up. Let's
Yeah,
let's go
been a
ahead
few
and
years.
let's introduce the audience to who you guys are. So start.
We'll start
Yeah,
with
we'll go-
Wes.
Okay, Wes. What do you play, Wes?
So I play drums. I've been playing for 20 plus years. I've played
Nice.
in a few bands over the years, folk rock, metal, and now I'm in a reggae rock band with these guys.
Nice. Just checking off all of the genres.
Trying
Check,
to
check. Yeah.
except country. I don't know if I can go there, but
Yeah. I know. I hear you, man.
Yes.
All right. So
Yeah,
Wes, good
yeah.
to see you, man.
good to meet you guys.
Who's sitting next to you?
Yeah, Nolan, do guitar and vocals, sometimes bass. Love it.
Nice. All right. And then we
yeah.
got Cameron.
I'm Cameron. I, like Wes, have been playing drums since I was a little kid, but then kind of self-taught guitar along the way. And so for this project, definitely guitar and vocals, same as Nolan. And then last but
Nice.
not least, we got Mark over
What's up? Am I in the picture? I don't know.
You are Mark. We can. You guys are all full
right.
in the picture. You can just.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then get away from me.
He's like the cuddle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So my name's Mark. I joined these guys a year ago, 2 years ago. I don't know.
I was gonna say you don't look familiar, like the familiar
No,
faces,
We
but
got a
There's
lot
a
of
story behind
We got great stories to tell you tonight.
okay. Yeah, we'll dive into it though. So, sorry, your name again was Mark.
Yeah, my name's Mark. Been playing bass for like 5 years, and so
Nice.
time to join a band. So
Right on. And you guys
like
all
you do, man.
And you guys currently all live in Springville. Is that right?
Yeah.
Spread throughout Utah County. I'm in
Utah.
Orem.
Oh, okay.
Mark's in Lehigh. So
Gotcha.
We're our goal is to burst the bubble, dude.
Well, I hope so, because as far as I know, Utah County still has an active restraining order out against me. So
Yeah,
That
talk
is
about
funny.
storytelling for tonight. This is for
you know,
Yeah, yeah.
the tickets to the football game were free. But yeah.
So let's go back to the beginning. Like, how'd you guys get first get started, and like what was the aha moment where you guys decided, like, you know what, this is really cool, we should just keep doing this?
Yeah, so it kind of goes back a ways, actually. So it goes back to when I was still in college. Nolan just got out of he just got out of rehab when he was a teenager, and he's like, I need
Okay.
to change the scenery, and so he came out to Utah. And I grew up in California, so I grew up a lot with that, the 311, the Sublime, the Expendables, Revolution.
Right, West Coast. Yeah,
West
the
Coast
West Coast.
reggae is like
Right.
I listened to a lot of metal too growing up, and a lot of punk rock. And so I think the journey, at least for me, started when a friend of mine gave me a CD of 311's greatest hits, and I got hooked on 311. And then after
Nice.
that, I had another friend give me a burned copy of Pepper's Kona Town. I still have that
Nice.
CD. And
Great.
then I just fell in love with Pepper, and then that led to everybody else under the sun, right?
Right.
And then, so fast forward to, I'm in my mid-20s. Nolan pops into the picture because my roommate at the time and him, they're cousins. So that's how we got introduced. And so my roommate was like, yo, my cousin's coming out to Utah. He's a huge Expendables fan, and he loves 311 and all this other stuff. So Nolan came out, dude, and he had the shaggiest hair I've ever seen. And he's just like, what's up, man? Like, super enthusiastic. And so Nolan and I hit it off when he was trying to just kind of change up his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, get his
Yeah.
life back together, sounds like.
and that's when I actually was 17.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
Number
Okay.
17.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, no, but yeah. Like,
That was a
well,
long time ago.
I remember you, like, ever since I first met you guys, you've always been kind of the clean cut,
Yeah.
look. But like, yeah, man, kudos to you, dude. Kudos to you for changing it.
We're okay with that. And then Wes and I met in Peru serving missions.
Okay.
And then we just maintained that friendship ever since. And then he was doing other projects and stuff and living in Vegas and then in Washington for a time, and then finally made it back.
¿En qué parte de Perú?
¿Qué parte de Perú?
Sí.
Estamos en el parte de Huánuco, como el región Junín.
Mi hermano hizo la misión en Lima.
Yeah. Lima Este.
En Lima Este estamos
All
por ahí.
right.
Qué chévere.
Man, Elder Allen rocking it, man.
Como Huancayo, pues.
Santiago, Chile, baby.
That's a great, completos, dude.
Yeah, man. Beto. In fact, I was in Chile the first time I heard 311, because I was out. I was on. I was out in 93 and 94, and first time I heard 311. Zach and I used to just like record tapes for each other, just talking and whatnot, and mail them back and forth. And Zach sent me. He would always kind of send me, kind of almost a part of his tapes would almost be a mixtape of what he was getting into. So like, one of them, it's like, dude, here's this band called Rage Against the Machine. This is King Apparatus. Here's a little, and then, man, this is a band I'm really getting into, man, 311. And he played Nick's Hex for me. And I was just like, yeah.
Yeah. That first music album was just, it's so pure. And
it's just raw.
it's so
raw
good.
and
Well, you know what?
beautiful.
A
Yep.
friend of ours was driving back from Boston, and she stopped in Omaha and scored me a copy of 311's album that they released locally before they got signed. And it has a ton of songs that they never released, but several songs where once they got signed, they completely retooled the lyrics for them. So it's the same music that I'm used to, but completely different lyrics. It was so cool.
Yep. And then they had a song called was Unity. That was one that was on
Oh
there.
yeah, Unity's great. Yeah.
And they had a few. And then there was one where I can't remember, but the line was his pickup line was he asked her for a cigarette, and someone said, "Man, that's lame," and he's like, "I know it's lame, but I haven't got a better one yet," And I just remember it sounded like
that freaky girl is in my brain. Now I'll never be the same. Fast, but let's get back to you guys, man. So
let's do this.
Just over the years, and I'll tell the condensed version, otherwise it'll take forever. But anyway, long story short, I guess I would consider Cameron myself is kind of the glue of this operation. And then we had another.
I am the leader of the band. You're the leader of the band. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Cameron.
No. And then I had another buddy, Will, who I met out in the Bay Area in California. And he's very musically talented at, Adept. He's the guy that played Scalloween when we were there with you guys.
Okay. Yeah.
And so he was good. But it just, you could say, personality differences or just kind of conflict year over year, just kind of build and build.
It happens. Believe me, I know.
And there was not a lot of forgiveness, but a lot of like, kind of, I feel like grudges were growing on both parts, everybody's parts. But before we get into that drama, I think it all started in Wes's basement when he was living in Mapleton. Nolan, me, and Wes just got together, and that's when we kind of played for the first time. Was it No Way Jose? We kind of conceptualized. So we have a goofy punk song that you guys, it's on Spotify. And it's No Way Jose. It's just about like going to a taco shop, like a taco truck, and get super stoked to eat tacos, but they don't have the right meat. So we mix in some Spanish in that song, and it's just a little fun punk song. And that's kind of the first song we hashed out as a 3-piece. And then we brought in Will. And then after things fizzled out with Will, we brought in Mark, and we met Mark through playing at the Boardwalk. He was in a band here called what?
That band's gone now, but they were called Love Potion Ocean.
Yeah,
Love Potion Ocean.
And so we really liked Mark's chops, and he's humble about it, but even only playing for 5 years, like Mark is a really good fundamentalist bassist, and he could slap that thing,
Nice.
And
slapping the bass.
Yeah, so when we had the fallout with our friend, it was kind of rough on all of us. Like I had a hard time. Like I was having panic attacks. Like these guys could attest. Like there were moments when we would get together to play music. We were all kind of traumatized in some way or another, just because I know it sounds silly, but literally like, for story's sake, and also just to be real, like it's tough when, you need to say goodbye to a buddy on a project that was intended to be fun. You guys have been in the scene for a long time. There's so many bands that try to like take it seriously, but like our whole, I guess, vision from the start was like, we want to bring a different type of energy to our live shows. Like we want to bring such a positive, happy, just like that reggae rock vibe front and center with a little bit, riffy, fun music, a little bit of rap, a little bit, tons of reggae, some punk, and just have fun with it. And over the time that kind of deteriorated. And so
do you think it deteriorated because of his involvement or his like mojo bringing the rest of the guys down? Like I'm trying to back up to the story here to kind of understand.
Yeah,
like a lot of it falling now, but was it like a slow burn, or was it like you guys got in a fight?
It was a slow burn, and there was some heated conversations. But what it came down to was a lack of communication on both sides. We were trying to figure out how to go about it the right way, right? Because Will's not a bad guy. No one here is a bad guy.
Yeah.
Everyone just had what ended up happening is we had a very similar vision, and Will had a different vision.
Mm-hmm. What was Will's vision, if you don't mind me asking?
Will's vision, just from everything that happened, we just felt like he was taking it. You start saying stuff like, oh, we need to do it because this band did it this way, and this band, and because this band did it. And I'm like, listen, dude, we're not those bands. We're Slick Daddies.
Right.
And we're going to do it Slick Daddies way. We're not trying to. We don't even have a following. Why are we even worrying about things like?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Fans that know who we are.
don't, you know what I mean?
The visions were different. You both had the same passion, but
Right.
the vision for it was different. I know all about that. Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah,
it's so hard to bring that vibe, that the energy that you guys that is part of the Slick Daddies sound and vibe when everything's not copacetic, between you on stage, because when there's animosity between you, that it is so hard to mask that when you're on stage. Now there are bands that do it, and there are bands that do it well, but it doesn't come from the soul. It's definitely a front, a facade, if you will.
Yeah, I think even when you're playing live though, that's easy to put on that performance,
Really
mask.
is, yeah.
I think it's the
a
time
lot easier.
outside. Yeah, you spend such a small amount of your time actually performing. Most, 90% of your involvement is stuff that's not performing, rehearsals and getting together. And, like you said, it's all the backroom stuff, and that's where it's like you said, that arguments or the difference of opinions can take effect. And then, yeah, so I totally understand that. So is he doing anything these days? Is he got a new project, or is he
just,
you guys still friends?
He and his wife just had their first. And so,
okay, so he's busy being dad.
Congrats to him. Welcome to fatherhood. We're
Right
super stoked. And so, I hope to talk to him again. We've kind of parted ways in a lot of ways. And I hope to, rekindle that and just kind of say, hey man, no hard feelings. I just, let's understand each other. And so everyone can feel like they can heal.
Right. But, so you guys, was it kind of like one of those, I was going to ask you guys, so you guys kind of all collectively got together and said, listen, man, we're going to have to cut ties.
Nolan, you had something to say.
No, I was just going to, So basically, summer of 2023, we were playing a show at Kilby Court. We were open.
Oh, this is a story.
Lit and playing with, you guys know, Fancy Lads. Love those dudes.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So it was like the first show we had played in Salt Lake. We were super stoked, and we were still working on one of our new songs. We had never played it live before, and we were getting ready. We had just finished the structure, so we went over it in practice right before the show.
Right, you guys, we're going to do this live tonight. Yeah.
And that's when we all we just blew up. And he was, upset that we hadn't communicated the structure of the song, or were wanting to change things. It also made it tricky, right? All of us are in Utah County. When Will was in the band, he was living in Murray, right? So he was the furthest one away. It wasn't always the easiest for him to get down to practice. Understandable.
And let me add real quick, for context's sake, Nolan and I write 100% of the music. 100% of the time, and that includes
So you're there.
That includes the bass lines.
Mm-hmm.
We carve that out and say, hey, you're welcome to have creative freedom here, but this is the meat and potatoes of this bass line. Because as you guys know, with reggae, you got to establish the bass and drums first in a lot of ways. Get that groove going, get that danceable rhythm going, and then you move on from there. And so that was pretty much established, and we just changed where we wanted to do this little bridge section to transition back into the outro. And so anyway, just contextually, Nolan and I, we put a lot of time to write and make the music fun, especially for a live setting, which is our goal, to put on a really fun live show. And then,
So then basically,
go
ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, so it sounds like the dynamics of the whole process was just wearing down, to the point where maybe it went like Wes was saying, it's a lack of communication, you had feelings kind of buried down, is this even worth getting in an argument over or bringing it up, and he's probably feeling the same way. And then it gets to a head where you're like, hey, we're going to perform this song. And he probably stressed out a little bit, crap, I'm not ready for this, and
right.
Yeah.
Well, and
so,
we were worried he was just going to not show up. He wasn't there for sound check. So I called Mark. And what were you doing?
Dog, I don't even remember what I was doing, but I remember I picked up the phone. I'm like, oh, great. And then I started driving up to Salt Lake because they're like, please.
We need a basis for our show.
Please, Obi-Wan.
You're my only hope.
And I wasn't too angry. I love playing with these guys. They're hella fun. I'm driving up he calls again. He's like, hey, he might be coming. Still keep driving up. And I'm like, I'm on the 15. You know the 15.
Right. Especially in Lehigh.
About 5-10 minutes later, they call again. Like, hey, he showed up. And so I was like, great.
We bought him lunch. Like,
I was gonna say, yeah, it's like you owe me gas money. Venmo me at least $5, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, long story short, so that Kilby experience was really rough for all of us.
Yeah.
Particularly subconsciously, because it's like, I think some of the trust was broken. It exploded. What seemed to, at least Nolan and I, a very minor adjustment to a song, to his perspective, wasn't. And I didn't respect that. I'll own that. I didn't respect what he was trying to say, because I was just trying to, get us ready for the show. And so, again, we made mistakes. I think he made some mistakes as well, but I don't want to spend the whole podcast just airing our dirty laundry.
No. We can go over it. We can move on from that. But it is important to. Yeah, go ahead.
We love Will. We think he's a great person, and if he's listening to this, let's go get Don Joaquin's, and catch up. Really, no hard feelings, but we just wanted to move in a different direction, and so we went. Wes, Nolan, and I went to 311 Day last year in Vegas for the 2-day celebration. And while we were there, we decided to do a little rebrand of Slick Daddies. Now, granted, you guys are here interviewing Slick Daddies. Slick Daddies, yes, still exists, but we created a new project called Use of Man. And
okay, so I was going to ask you about that, because I'm like, what is this going on?
Yeah, if you pull up Spotify Use of Man, we put Pitted, which is a song we played with Scalaween with you guys. For you guys, Pitted is a single under Use of Man, and that's our latest recorded one. So Use of Man, I think for us, at least emotionally and creatively, gives us permission to just kind of get back to what we had initially with Slick Daddies, which was like, let's break some rules. Like, let's write music and try to be the best version of ourselves, rather than trying to attach us to be like anybody else.
So are you guys retooling yourselves then and going to start going under the name Use of Man then?
Yeah, we have. And
okay, you have. So Slick Daddies is technically no more.
Technically.
Am I right?
It's just sometimes
it's the same band. I mean, it's the same band, same guys, same town.
We just use it now, we use it as a segue to get people to just I guess it's I don't know.
It's their occasion. Occasionally I'll post, I'll get on there and do a story for whoever is still interested. And we might post some videos there, but the live shows, it's going to be Use of Man. Similar to how
I was going to say
311 used to be Unity back in the day. Right. And then they had some events happen, and it's like, oh, let's do 311. And then that was the ticket. Right. So for us, at least, we decided to do it because we just felt like it gave us a springboard to kind of turn the chapter and then move forward again with a new momentum.
I did the same thing last year. Like, Hooray Who really doesn't do anything anymore. It's now Z Frequency, and it's a completely different construct. A lot of the same guys are involved in it. But yeah, I totally understand. And I guess now's the time to do it. Have you guys reached out to your fan base and said, hey, look, guys, new phone. Yeah. So migrate over, please, because this page is gonna die.
Very little, actually.
Yeah. Well, very little followed us over.
Well, no. What I'm saying is we haven't really done an official hey, Slick Daddies has now morphed into Use of Man.
Yeah.
We've done a couple hey, go follow Use of Man, but nothing really formal, I'd say.
Yeah, we've just been trying to figure out the best way to do that.
Well, you have two ways of doing it. You could either just kind of do what you're doing and just become Use of a Man and stop posting on your Slick Daddy stuff, and people will figure it out, or they won't, or make an announcement. Or you could do maybe a little bit of both, make one announcement and say, this is the only time we're going to talk about this, but we decided we didn't, we're changing the chapter in life and get a new same band, new name, new fresh coat of paint.
Yeah, something that I want to try to do, and it's something we struggled with historically with Slick Daddies, and I'm sure you guys can relate to, is just so much of this is more of content creation and like building a brand than it is just making music. Like if we could tell the story in good ways that resonates with people, I feel like that storytelling is what people get connected to more now, particularly younger audiences, rather than just the music itself. Whereas when we all were growing up, we could pop on an album from Sublime or Revolution or the Expendables, and we could connect emotionally with that. But now I feel like the paradigm shift where like people want to connect with the people behind the music more so than they do the music themselves.
True. I mean, and nowadays you have to be a man of many hats. You know, it's not enough to just be a musician, write songs. I mean, usually now, unless you have a lot of money to throw at it, I mean, you got to be the engineer, you got to be the videographer, the social media manager, the t-shirt salesman. You've got to put on all the hats. And you're right, the construct of the world that we live in is definitely what, you know, drives and shapes the music scene, really, because, you know, like you said, it used to be albums, right? And albums are still a huge thing. And like, I have even more respect now for bands that decide, you know what, I'm putting out an album versus just throwing out single after single. And the downside of that is that that's just kind of the construct, like Spotify and Apple Music. I mean, they like to drip feed their people with, it's just an attention thing, right? So they can't handle a whole album. And so the best form of promotion is just like doing singles. And it makes sense when you're, like you said, you're wanting to share the story and stuff, but with singles and you keep pumping them out as singles, then you always have something to put in front of people. Cause it seems like, you know, you can make a little reel or a video or whatever, and it may be hot for maybe 2 weeks, like especially reels, like they have such a short lifespan. And
yeah. So I mean, that's some amazing advice. And I think I needed to hear that tonight. But one of the things we did last year when it came to launching Use of Man is I contacted one of my old buddies. He played for a folk band called Grizzly Goat. They've been big here in Provo for a long time, and they toured down in the South. But one of my friends I was in a band with, I reached out to him like, hey, we need content. We need to record music, and we're going to do an EP. And I'm hoping it doesn't take more than 8 or 9 hours. And so it's on the Use of Man, Spotify, Apple Music. We recorded a basement EP, all live, no backtracking as far as no metronome. We were just like, let's just play live songs. And so we can give people a taste of what we sound like.
Right.
And so we threw that up there. And then, long story short, we reached out to some venues because we wanted to do an EP release show with Use of Man. And we wanted to do a big announcement about it. And what I think kind of made us plateau a little bit.
Dude, you got to tell that story.
There's this venue in Provo called The Rise.
Very new venue.
And I'll leave names out of it because I don't know about legal crap, but I'll just say the venue's name. So The Rise, this guy reached out, the owner reached out and said, hey, I applied for this EP release show. I was like, hey, can we play? We want to make this big. We're investing a couple grand, meaning, you know, Cam invested a couple grand into making merch. So we have a box full of CDs, shirts, stickers, posters. And I was like, hey, we want to make this big. It's Use of Man's first EP release show. We want to do this. And so he was like, hey man, like I take this stuff seriously and I really want to make sure that this is big for you guys. And so you guys got to show up. And I'm like, okay. I contacted this guy like every other day for 30 days, right? And I would get ghosted. Nothing. I mean, I have text messages, right? Just these text messages of this dude not responding to me. I'm like, hey man, I want to pay for a promotion through your page. Can we do this? Like I'm giving this dude the silver platter of marketing. Like we had money we wanted to throw into this.
Yeah. You know what?
Calls me. Go for it.
No, go ahead. Finish your story, and then I'll kind of interject after.
Okay. This dude calls me 8 hours before the show and says that he has kidney stones and has to cancel the entire show. And this was after I'm a barber by trade, and I didn't bribe, but I was just like, if you come to my show, I will give you free haircuts at my shop. Like I invested money in that way as far as marketing goes, and Cam invested a lot of money. I mean,
Yeah,
these
you're
guys
just scheming at that point. Like, just show up. So this guy canceled the gig on you guys, and this is the owner, right, of the club?
This was
That
4 hours before.
Was it 4
Yeah,
hours?
no, that's definitely unfortunate. Like, at most,
But
I think it. Go ahead.
Oh, I just turned on the.
Yeah, you just
tracker.
emojied. Hey, how's it going? Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark. Why don't you go ahead and we want to get what you have to say, sir.
I mean, they called me up and they're like, "Hey, can you come play this show?" And then I was on my way, and then they called me again.
The other way. There you go. Right there. That's good.
Well,
Yep,
for
that looks good.
this show, since Mark,
That's how you're relevant.
So,
So,
all right.
yeah, this guy reached out, and so we offered to run the venue. I'm like, listen, I run my own business. I've got people that know how to run point of sale. I got people that know how to run.
Well, he didn't have employees there. He didn't have like a manager or something that can take over. Is it just a one man band? Like, what the hell?
Every question I reamed this guy. I was like, dude, are you kidding me? I was like, do you know how much money we've put into this show? And he was like, oh man, I'll pay you back. Anyways, come to find out, this dude does not. He's known for not paying out some bands, and I know some bands personally that are like, oh, I had a great experience. And I'm like, well, good. I didn't. I'm glad you did. I really am. And I've been
So
to.
is this club still operational? Is like still doing stuff?
No, they're gone now.
Are they gone?
Oh, well, yeah. Well, then that tells you something. So
You don't say.
yeah, surprise.
Quick intermission, folks. We've curated a Spotify playlist called The Guest List, showcasing the incredible artists who grace our show with their talent and stories. Dive deeper into their music. Plus, discover exclusive tracks by Z Frequency. Click the link in the description or search for The Guest List on Spotify. Enjoy, and back to the show.
But part two of the story is we have a good friend. His name's Buddy, down in Payson, South County Lanes. He runs the bowling alley there, but he has a music venue.
I know you guys do shows there often. I've seen.
Yeah. So I just want to shout out to anybody listening, Bud, South County Lanes. Go support that man. He is an angel, literally. I called
We should have
him
him on the show. We should have him on the show.
I'll send you his contact
I've always
information.
wanted to do an interview of like some of the venue owners too, and let them
He's
promote
good, and
their
he does the
stuff.
sound. He does point of sale. He just wants the bands to have a good time and relax. So
how are the turnouts there?
If you we had a good turnout.
We got about from the EP release show, we probably had a third of what we were expecting. Like all these promises, people were like, "Oh, I didn't want to drive an extra 15 minutes to Payson, so it's way too far."
I mean, that makes sense.
I get that. I believe it. So
We were supposed to have Fancy Lads play with us. We had two other bands lined up. We had Fancy Lads, someone else that were going to play the Rise with us. But because we had to move it to Payson, they're like, yeah, sorry, man, that's too far. And we wouldn't be able to get our fans to go.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, I'm looking at your guys' Spotify page for Use of Man, and it's like got a sloth just chilling.
Yeah.
And I love it. Yeah, I totally dig. Yeah, I dig it too. And
but you see, that's the tone that we wanted to have originally, you know. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Bud. He saved the day. In under 4 hours, he said, "Yes, come on down. I have another band playing downstairs, and then you guys can have upstairs." And we had a wonderful time. And so I'll send you his information. He's a great guy. He's got awesome stories, and I just want to give a shout out to him because he saved us.
We usually do like after we do these things, you'll get an email with an opportunity to give your feedback. And on one of the questions, I think it asks if you know anybody that would be a good guest to get some contact info. But no, that's cool. I rarely go down that far down south into Utah County, especially to play gigs. Like I know there's ABGs, and that's about it, man. Like I don't know other places. I know there's more than one, but it's nice to know that there are some places that are supportive that way. Like I've heard you talk about, what's it called, the Boardwalk? Is that what it's called?
You know, you guys recorded your Slick Daddies live album at the Boardwalk, right?
Yeah.
Right. So is it kind of like a almost like a studio that's big enough to throw like a performance sort of thing, or
Yeah,
because
They
I
have a
remember.
separate studio from their.
it's just a small warehouse with one of
Okay.
those kind of gates in the back that opens up. And so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like a little concrete venue. They have, the house audio there in the back, and they have a little stage. They've expanded it though. They've put in some upgrades and upgraded the sound. So from when we played there to most recently when we did Battle of the Bands, is Yusuf Man there, which is funny. We could segue into that. We have, it's just been interesting is like the more friction, the more you stick with it, I feel like we're learning something.
I don't know. Like, I think where you guys are at doing the whole, like, you know what, let's just like push the reset button. Why not? You know what I mean? Like, now you guys are all fired up. You got something new. You got a new brand to fill. It looks like, you guys are just starting out because but yeah, I would, if the next show you guys do, what I would do is, if you're going to throw any advertising money, throw money at the show or create an event, that you're going to play that gig. Let's say it's the Boardwalk or the bowling place. I can't remember what you guys called it. What was the name of the
County
place?
Lanes.
Yeah. And boost it, just boost it through Meta and target, 30-mile radius or whatever around that. And then you put in target like words like reggae and, those sort of things, and it'll help. But really you guys just got to do a bunch of gigs. Like the more you go out there and play and I don't know how big the following for music is out there, in general, just for like local music and period, in general, but, that's pretty exciting stuff though. I dig it. And,
yeah. So, I mean, kind of just like bringing us back up to speed with like the use of man thing. I think really the 311 day last year, and it's funny because it was literally a year ago today. So we're literally like probably today was driving back.
yeah,
We're
going,
like,
you know what?
yeah,
You get a little time to think when you're on a road trip.
So this
Yeah.
really was like today or yesterday was like our 1 year anniversary.
We got it. It's true.
Well, right on, man. So you guys are on the ZHZ podcast on your first year anniversary. Congratulations, man.
Yeah.
So
Good job, man.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
Thanks for being on the
but
show.
it was just, I mean, driving back.
Should we tell them some of the names we floated around?
We could. Yeah. That's also content that we filmed. We gotta get out too. But I mean, like it was, we had just kind of landed on the fact of, man, like that 311 show was so fun. The three of us had such a blast going out, eating food every night, gambling, just such a good time. The vibes were just immaculate. The three of us just realized, like, man, guys, like we gotta keep doing something. We gotta keep like, we gotta go. We gotta do music. It was just like, and so as we're driving back, we're like, okay, if we were to hit the reset button, what would we call our new band name?
We came up with like 150 names.
So we threw them all into a Google Docs sheet. And I don't think it had been, oh man, I couldn't tell you the last time I laughed that hard in the car coming up with these stupid names for bands.
Part of the fun.
It was a blast.
Yeah.
So like,
Nice.
I mean, we're like, oh, what if we called ourselves Rectum Spectrum
There you
or
Just
George's Bush
Stupid stuff.
or
Heart.
go. Nolan and the Muff Divers.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I mean, just the dumbest names, but we eventually, so we sat with all the ones that we liked. We got together a week later and we settled on Use of Man, and that just felt right. It felt good. We then recorded the album in the basement. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interject. So I'm looking at your Spotify and I click on your picture, and is Mark in there? I don't see.
Mark is not in that. If it's in the barbershop, Mark's not in that picture.
Yeah. So you guys, and then it says Slick Daddies is a reggae rock band. Like you guys need to update some stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, that's honest.
yeah.
The Slick Daddy page needs to get updated, and the Use of Man does as well.
Yeah.
We've just been that drive back from 311 Day taught us, as you guys know, a bunch of dudes just
Okay, no,
dudes.
you're right. That is Slick Daddies. My fault. I'm sorry.
Just a bunch of guys goofing off. It just kind of rekindled that, like we like this stuff. We're not the type to take it seriously. Like, we don't want to be defined by, oh, we play music and that's who we are. It's like, no, because we all have stuff going on, right?
Yeah, you guys probably all married men and have jobs and kids and yeah.
Yeah, but we just want to share. Except for Mark.
No, it's because he's a bass player.
That's right.
Sorry, man. Sorry, Mark. I love you. Bass players I always give them shit.
Yeah.
And so, this is an outlet for us just to share like the type of music that we want to write, that we have fun playing, and we just want to share that excitement with as many people as possible, with no expectations. So if we're ever opening for anybody up in Salt Lake, like, we want to be that band that people remember, be like, hey, those local guys were pretty fun. And just to bring that high energy, really fun stuff.
I don't see why we couldn't do some sort of a show at some point together with Z Frequency. I don't know if you've ever dived down that rabbit hole, because we haven't really talked much since that Hooray Hoo endeavor. But like Hooray Hoo was like a band that was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, And so when we did our show with the Makeways, that Halloween show or Skalloween show, that was kind of a reunion thing for us, And it never. I mean, it went. We kind of made it work for a little while, and then it just kind of. I don't know. I think I just was ready, like you, turn the page, And so
I think that we had. It was more than a reunion, because we had gotten together, played a reunion show, then we played another reunion show, and it kind of through the course of that, everybody was kind of like, well, let's just kind of keep this going and see what happens, and we got in the studio, recorded an EP of some of the stuff that we had been working on right before the band broke up in 2001.
That's right. And then we did a couple of songs. Yeah, one new one that just came out.
Right,
Amber Skies.
Yeah. And that one with Amber Skies that Hooray just released had been sitting recorded and almost ready for about a year and a half before we finally finished it up and got it out there. But that's the first new Hooray Hoo song. In 20 something years, and but it's just hard, man. It's a 8-piece band. Everybody's got careers and families, and it's hard. It's really hard to evolve and push things forward when you can only rehearse twice a month. It's enough to keep the set tight, keep the songs we know, hot and ready. Makes it really, really hard to really pump out new stuff.
Right. So, or grow, for that matter.
Right.
So I love hearing about this, and the band gives me so much shit for this. But my uncle, man, dude. My uncle was in a ska band called Barney Pipe.
Yeah, where did he play?
They played at the House of Blues in Las Vegas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
I love it. I love it already.
At the same time.
And my uncle my uncle's in a ska band. Hey,
and my uncle played bass, and it took him forever to get married. I'm sorry. Dude.
Actually, fucking sick.
He's like, Mark's like, what the hell, man?
So I grew up with ska. Right, and so for me, it was Aquabats first, and then personally,
they're coming in town.
Yes,
we saw
it. And then I was really big into Streetlight Manifesto for
they're a great band too.
So I listen to them a lot, and then throughout this whole music journey, I've had my uncle, I'll send him our stuff, and love hearing his feedback and everything. But it's so cool to come back. Here I am, his age when he was playing all this stuff, and I'm now playing in it. We're not completely ska. We want a trombone player.
Whatever. I say, you guys have opened up such a wide open for a genre. I think of it kind of like Sublime, right? Sublime was kind of famous, really, or noted for being one of the best ska bands ever. But if you were to ask them, they'd be like, "Well, that's a cool title, but we play punk, we play whatever we want."
Right.
So. It to me, when I hear someone say, "Oh yeah, they're ska," and I'm like, "Yeah, they are, but they're not too," So
I mean, Hooray Hoo was never strictly a ska band. You get labeled as a ska band a lot if you have horns.
That's true.
Now, a lot of Hooray Who stuff was ska, but
I'm gonna say
a
we
lot
did
of
some
it
ska
wasn't.
stuff. Yeah, but some of it wasn't
I
right.
mean,
In fact, I felt like
we were skanking to you guys' set. I mean, we
oh,
were-
thanks, man. Yeah. We but like the Makeways, they are ska. They own it.
Absolutely.
You know, like and you know they.
Hooray Who is ska until you put us up on stage playing with real ska bands, and then we become a lot less ska because it's like,
exactly.
man, these guys are doing it.
That's so
when
true.
we played that show, we were like, I come off the stage thinking, I'm like, you know what? It's for the first time I think ever, we are probably the hardest band on the set.
Yeah. That's cool though.
Yeah,
When
but
our last
usually-
at Battle of the Bands at the Boardwalk, our last show, when we started the set, I mean, you have a very short set with the Battle of the Bands format, but we got up there and I think we said the first thing is like, hey, we're Yusuf Man. We're not a reggae band. We're a punk band that plays reggae. And
There you go.
I think that distinction kind of allows for that freedom, to just mess around with what we write and what we do to communicate the stories that we're trying to craft in a way that's just ours, And so we want to just build on that stuff that is fun for us when we're rehearsing in our room.
Yeah, and you can hear it a lot in our EP. I mean, we
So
always
the
describe ourselves. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say I'm kind of looking at it right now. The EP, it says it has All You Got, Sour Cream, Barbershop, and Draper.
Yep. Draper's a punk song about swingers.
Yeah.
So how did you guys record that? I'm gonna follow you guys right now.
So
I
this
already
was
follow you.
the one in the basement. So this was
So you're one
actually
of-
me, Wes, and Cam, and
Ben. Yeah.
Ben was Wes's buddy from Grizzly Goat. He had all the equipment. We just decided, hey, let's go record some music. Let's make an EP. And it was the three of us. We just chugged away at it. We recorded the entire thing in a day. We did it live
In 8 hours.
in 8 hours.
Yeah.
And so we really
Sounds
just
about right.
typed it out. We just wanted some content. We're like, hey, if we're going to come out with a new project, we need to actually have some music because we only have the one single on Slick Daddies page. And then we just have our live album, which is like,
But
cool.
I also see Pitted too, and that's like kind of that's your single then, I guess.
Right. That was the one we did in a actual studio. So you can definitely hear the production quality difference. But what I love about the EP is, right, we describe ourselves as reggae rock. And I think that's such a nice little, not much of a blanket term because with the song, the title track, All You Got, it is probably the dubbiest reggae song we've ever written. And then the very next song I think is Draper.
Yeah.
It's a fast, it's a fast punk song with Draper, right?
Okay.
And then we have Sour Cream, and that's like a rap rock 311 type song. And then we've got Barbershop, that's just a very like upbeat, fun reggae song. And then we have a song called Sly, which is like a rap rock, blues, kind of bluesy rock song. So we love being able to, take pieces of our different influences and be able to just throw it in and not staple ourselves down to one specific genre, kind of to what you guys were speaking of. That's been a lot of fun for us.
Well, that's
So-
got to be really liberating for you, though, too, is, as you kind of rebranding and this rebirth and everything, not feeling like you're pigeonholed into one specific corner of the music world, and really the sky's the limit, man. You're inventing use of man as you go, and so you are now defining what use of man sounds like.
Right.
Yeah, I almost
I
feel
think-
like listening to you guys talk that this use of a man is even though it's what you say a year old now. How many shows have you guys done under this name?
Yusuf Man. So we played Santa Quinn, Battle of the Bands, and
Our EP release show.
Okay, so you guys are building an audience. You have a Facebook page, or
we have a
We do.
Instagram.
We have a website. We have an Instagram. We have
We
a
just
Facebook.
changed Facebook from Slick Daddies to Yusuf.
No, we have a use of man page.
Oh, do we?
Usaband.com. We got, those funnels are honestly neglected. We need to set those up and be a little bit better about building the audience and probably doing some ad spend on Meta behind that to kind of attract
Yeah,
people that
I think if
love-
you guys
not
do,
love Pepper and 311 in Utah.
have you guys still keep in touch with Dozy Dubs?
Yeah, we do. We're good friends.
Yeah. I really want to have those guys on our show too. I know they're not really based out of Utah, but that doesn't bother me at all.
They would love it. They come down often. I know they're hitting it pretty hard on the road lately, trying to kind of sneak in. You know, they opened for the Common Kings about a month ago.
Yeah, I seen a reel from them. And it looked really, I seen a reel from that. So it was really cool.
We're really happy with them because, you know, last time we played with them was at the Boardwalk, and that was 3 years ago, and that was at Slick Daddies. But they're really fun guys.
No, they're based out of Boise, right?
Correct.
Yeah, Boise. Yeah. But yeah, they would be a great group to have on, and they have some awesome stories as well.
I'm sure. Like they are one of the hardest. Like to me, like, you know, in my, you know, Facebook stalking or whatever you would call it, when I'm just kind of doom scrolling, I see those guys working so hard.
They are.
Yeah. You know, like they're one of the hardest working bands, so they deserve whatever they get. And but so I guess what's next for you guys? Like, you have any shows coming up, or you have any big events that you're working on? Are you working on new music, or
so what's
in the hopper?
I'm in contact with a couple guys from UVU. They run events there. And I've been really either like a small block party on my street, or I'm thinking of like a big ska-like reggae event at UVU. Like they would allow us to go there and play and get a couple bands and make a whole event out of it, and I wouldn't have to pay a dime. And so same with running an event on my street or something. But you know, there's a lot of things we can get into.
Are there clubs, like nightclubs in, you know, your area? Like
we have ABGs, and there's a place called Last Call we played at as Use of Man, kind of.
Yeah.
It was still Slick Daddies.
It was Slick
Daddies. You guys do like opener acts for other bands that are in the area?
That was probably our worst gig of all time.
Well, everybody's got to have one.
No, we got there and there's like no stage. Like nothing set up.
I've been this close together. They didn't have a PA, so we had to bring our own PA.
Oh, it took us an hour and a half. It was bad.
Yes, you did. Yeah, you played there. It was that bar. It was like the bar behind. But anyway, as far as like recording goes, we're trying to just record single by single right now, kind of like what you were talking.
Well, I mean, you guys have that EP. I'd just start pushing that.
We have EP. We have Pitted. We have.
We need to transfer over Let Go from Slick Daddies.
We have Let Go. We have so much stuff. It's just we just have to carve out a date and be like, let's go record. Let's go record. Because we have written probably close to 25 songs.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have to get it to a level that, you know, what did General Patton say? A good plan executed violently is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. Like, we're not pedantic with, this has to be the perfect production. Like, we just want to get content out.
Yeah.
And it has to be good enough so people can understand the genre and the sound that we're trying to carve as Use of Man. But once we could achieve that and just iterate and put out more and more singles and whatever, eventually get an album out that tells a cohesive story that we're formulating as a band. We're just gonna, you know, do that. But you're right, like we have content currently that we're leveraging. Nolan and I filmed one time just some like little interview stuff. I don't know if you guys have watched like 311's Enlarged to Show Detail documentary.
So many times.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of want to mimic a little bit of that, show off kind of those personalities and just kind of the B-roll behind the band and use that.
Those are all content. Good. Those are all behind the scenes things. Like who does this?
Is content.
Who handles the social media stuff?
So I took over for Use of Man just on Instagram. But as far as like
so you're the Instagram man. Do you have a designated Facebook guy, TikTok guy, or so it's I was gonna say it's good that you guys are kind of delegating roles. That's really important. And then that was one of the struggles that I had.
Have you seen any success on TikTok? Have you seen?
Have I seen you guys on TikTok?
No. Have you seen any success on TikTok for what you're doing?
Yeah. Well, with the Z Frequency stuff, you know, like this podcast started up last August. I think we first started filming and publishing in September, and I didn't really push TikTok too much because one, I feel like I'm like a foreigner on that platform. But I did post stuff, just to have some relevance, but I don't think I ever grew with that. I never really tried to grow. And then, I tried to do as much as I could, like with Facebook, and cause Facebook's kind of like our home, right? Cause we're old, like I'm 50 years old. So that's like where, our group mainly hangs out. Yeah. What's that?
I said, you don't look like it, you handsome man.
Well, thank you, sir. I know, I get that all the time.
Young whippersnapper.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so yeah, and it was just like, after looking at the metrics of all of these different platforms, they're like, well, it's obvious, people are hanging out on Facebook, and so
For sure.
if all your guys are hanging, like all of your fans, like, and the way to tell this is like, if you're getting any interaction, right? If you're getting likes and people commenting back and stuff, if it's on Instagram, then that's your home. It really is. And so then you would put all of your, like, I would say 80% of your focus on Instagram, because that's where your people are hanging out. That's your tribe, right? And then you use the other 20% to go, a little bit here on Facebook, or a little bit on TikTok, or some of the other, like Twitter, whatever platform, like YouTube, but that for me, it was like with Z Frequency, it was like by the time September rolled around, I had kind of finished all of the songs I had planned on doing for the year. Still had a few more in the hopper, and they're actually going to get released. In fact, we got one coming out next month called Splendid
sick.
Situation.
Nice.
And then after that is like an EP of the four songs that I never got finished near the end, including Splendid. But that's going to have to carry us for a good 6 months or so while I start working on new stuff. But yeah, this podcast is totally like consumed me, man. Like I got so just buzzed about it and excited. So I know the feeling when you guys are like, yeah, we decided we're going to retool, we got Use of Man. This is a new thing. And it's something you guys can get behind. And I just, it's kudos to doing it. And, just do your thing and be yourself. Don't try to be like 311. Don't try to be like, have those influences, right? I love
I think
311.
it's good. It's definitely good to like recognize the influences.
Absolutely.
But also when you do something that's yours, you right? And
right.
so when something comes together with us, like we know. And then also when stuff feels forced or maybe just kind of feels
that too. Yeah.
We tell each other like, you know what? I don't like this.
Right. It doesn't feel
yeah.
It doesn't feel like you, Yeah,
exactly.
no, I get it.
Exactly.
Well, right on. So you guys have any shows coming up?
No shows coming right now. Content creation is the biggest thing right now. We've got some interview content that we filmed a couple months ago that we're trying to get spliced up. And that's just kind of running through like what Use of Man has been up to. We go over each song in our EP, kind of explain the background of how each song was written.
There you go.
Kind of our next step right now, but we're definitely
start making some reels then, and
reels.
You guys are.
We'll use this podcast too. I mean, they see you guys.
Absolutely.
This helps us too. It's just low hanging fruit to kind of help tell the story and get people interested in kind of.
I'm going to have to do some overdub work, because tonight we have Matt. Go ahead.
Tonight we have Use of Man.
Would you like that obvious overdub?
Use of Man. Yeah, no, but I mean, I would definitely suggest, taking all of the content that you have out there for Slick Daddies and pulling it down, and but don't deactivate the pages for Slick Daddies. Have a redirect. Have a, hey,
yeah,
you can find us here,
a new place.
And you know what, I mean, you might even want to, if it's stuff that you're going to carry on because it's stuff that you wrote that's all you anyway, there's no shame in including a lot of Slick Daddies tracks in that content until you build up a library that's strictly Use of Man.
There is no until either. You could play Slick Daddy songs the whole time.
Our live set now is 90% Slick Daddies.
Well, that's the thing, man. And you guys wrote it. You guys own it. That's
I'm the same thing. Like I plan on doing at least maybe one or two tracks for the Z Frequency live, setup. I'm gonna play some of my old Hooray Who stuff that was written before there was a band.
Right. I mean, well, and there's stuff that carried on from the first iteration of Hooray Who, which was just Zach, And then, this was in the mid 90s. And then, we played for a summer as Hooray Who. And then Zach and I joined up with Catfish. And then, and we have, and a couple of those Hooray Who songs that we had made it into the Catfish set. And then of Catfish, we brought it with us.
We named the album Hooray Who.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and then we took some of them back, and like in fact, Hooray Who used to play Catfish song 540 at their shows. So,
and Salt Lake had a pretty strong ska scene, right? Late 90s.
Provo had a huge.
In fact, you want to see some shit.
Capital of the world.
You want to see some shit? Go to Fork Fest in June. Stretch Armstrong is reuniting for one night. Open with the Aquabats are playing that night too. But
we saw that.
There's like 30-something bands, but
you want to see some shit? Watch Stretch Armstrong do their thing.
Yeah, but actually,
hit that up.
Yeah, it was Provo area, Utah County. It was Utah County, and it bled over to like, because there were some bands like that came out of Salt Lake. The biggest one that I can think of is Insatiable. They're still around.
Oh yeah, still killing.
But and then you had like, you go further up north, and then you had like Model Citizen, and you had Catfish right out of Davis County. So it kind of spread out. But there was a time in like the early 90s to maybe near the late 90s that the ska scene in Utah County was, so that's where everybody went. And it got to the point where like big bands were coming there, like Mighty Mighty Boss Tones and No Doubt. And so all of these big, bands knew, like Scatolites, and they had this fest thing called Skavuvi. And I can't remember, it was like a rodeo fairgrounds. And I just remember showing up, and there's all these guys dressed to the nines in the suit, tie, and checkered flags. And it had like 30 Vespas parked out front, and they're doing like these donuts in this dirt parking lot and just creating this massive dust cloud. And I thought, this is the coolest thing I'll ever see in my life.
Right.
Like this motorcycle club of Vespas.
But like you talking about UVU back when it was UVSC.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a Scott Patrick's Day show there that was just it, and the McKay Center was packed asses to elbows. And it was Stretch Armstrong, Let's Go Bowling, Skink and Pickle, and the Aquabats, man. And it was insane. The kids in Utah County went ape shit for ska in the 90s, man.
I love that.
Yeah.
See, now it's all sad boy music.
It's all indie. Yeah, it's all.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, no offense. Like there's great musicians out of Utah County, and I mean no disrespect. I just not my cup of tea, not my cup of Mountain Dew. I don't.
Yeah.
We don't drink.
No, but that's okay. You know why? Because there's probably not a lot of your style down there then, and so you're like the refresher. You know what I mean?
To our knowledge, we are the only reggae rock bands in Utah County. Well, there's
could be.
Played with.
I know there's a lot in Salt Lake County. Yeah,
yes.
That's a kind of a big scene there, but.
Mm-hmm.
And Ogden, like we just got done doing an interview with a band called Vibe Merchant, which is a lot like your style. Like they're into the same bands. In fact, the Vibe Merchant was, they got their band name off of Brodel from 311 song.
Yeah, I was gonna say a Positive Vibe Merchant.
Yeah,
yep.
Correct. Yep. So, but yeah, that's so you guys could play with them. There you go. I dig it, man. I dig it.
I'll coordinate with you. Get your address. I'll send you guys some of these shirts. We got the QR code on the back of the shirt that goes straight.
Smart, man. Smart. It's all about that marketing, man.
Get up closer to the camera, and I'm going to see if I can take a picture of it on my phone. Let's try this out.
Okay, let's try it live.
Trying it live. Let me see. Oh, I got it.
Thanks, Jay.
It's a Linktree account. Linktree.
It's Linktree, so it sends them to YouTube and the website and the Instagram.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Got a light design too, a little bit more minimal on this one, but it's.
Oh, and you have an SMS like feed. Like I just all of a sudden got like 3 text messages from you.
Wait, really?
I don't know. We're
not.
We're not. Are we that?
Oh, that was me. Yeah. So I texted you earlier. I was like, oh snap, I was trying to join via browser instead of like the app.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe that was like I snap it up, open your link tree, and I was like, bang, 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 buy our shit, check out our song, look at this, and like
I wish.
I was like, whoa, you guys are like, that's some high tech stuff. Right
next
there.
week we'll get that up and running.
Yeah. No, I got. Yeah. Let's see here. Confirm my choices. I don't know what that means, but this is your link tree then.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely, as part of as we, push this episode out and market it, we'll definitely help carry the banner of getting the word out, saying, that and redirecting from Slick Daddies to Use of Man.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And as you go forward, just make sure that people know that hey, Use of Man, it's the guys from Slick Daddies, and as you get your content, put together. One of the things that I think is key is consistency. I mean, take basically, obviously probably not on the scale that Dozy Dubs does it, but man, you know what? Take a page out of their book and look at what they do and how they do it. And because
do you, man, just do you.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way you guys are going to stay fresh and relevant. And if you're not having fun, you lose it,
It's true.
And so if it's, like Matt was saying, like you definitely can take pointers from all of your icons and even bands. Like I always called it, Fox and the Hound, right? So you're always chasing the fox, like you always, if you put yourself not like, don't think of like in levels of like 311, right? Like, like juggernaut of musicians, but like think of bands that are just slightly ahead of you in their progress. There's your fox and you're the hound. Chase that until you get to that point, then find a new fox, and that way you can always stay in growth, but be yourself, and we'll do everything we can. Like I actually gonna hit up Matt, and I think after we disconnect here, we're gonna continue to we're gonna redo the scripts, I think. so I think we should promote you as Use of Man. Like I think Slick Daddies is kind of
let's do
it. This was the funeral of that and the birth of a new kick-ass band that's actually been around for a year. So.
Yeah, on the anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Yeah, happy anniversary, man. So
yeah,
all right. So people can find you. You said go ahead and give some
useofman.com.
At Use of Man Instagram.
At Use of Man Instagram, useofman.com, Facebook, Use of Man, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon.
Okay, and I'll leave links in the description on our YouTube episode so people can scroll down and tap into you guys for sure.
Awesome. It's all right, brothers.
Well, appreciate I just wanted to say thanks for being on the podcast. We're gonna have you guys back after. And you guys do you have any show planned coming up here in the next month or
honestly,
so?
we have some travel coming up in April and stuff. So I think once the dust settles at the end of April, we can hit it hard.
So nothing booked as of now.
May through summer, like we're gonna have a lot of fun, and so we're gonna do that block party thing. Throw another boardwalk show in there. We'll just have fun with it. But
you know what? Like my goal, Z Frequency. The goal this year for that project, and you'll have to check us out because we're all over the place genre wise too. But we plan on doing some live. Like we're trying to get a live band together because it's actually a studio band. The dynamics are really weird. So every song has a whole different set of musicians, but the live thing's going to have to be kind of like a whole different set of guys. Anyway, we're going to try and play live. So maybe we could do some shows together, like have you guys up here. And then, we can come down there.
And I'd really love to get you guys hooked up and connected with Vibe Merchant, man. I think that...
Absolutely.
I think that you go because I think that you guys could help them, start breaking into a following down south. They could help you guys break in and start getting a following up north.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, no, and they're good. We plan on doing shows with them too, and so
bunch of
you guys would be great. Yeah, you guys are a good fit for them.
Back to Wes's point, there's so many fun local bands with fun music. It would be fun to try to find a festival-esque local reggae, ska, punk, whatever you want to call it, and just see what we could do. But
yeah, well, unless you're into promoting and you do that kind of thing, that your best bet is to find a promoter. Yeah, and just say, hey, we're a band. If you that's out of this area, and we have this sort of follow. I think the hardest part for some promoters is they don't know, they don't know the scene, they don't know the area, they don't know the bands, and so they try to put a festival together. So they just usually sometimes they'll just put out a word like, hey, thinking about putting this show together, if you're interested, hit me up, and then you send your material and stuff like that. But the more you get into the scene, the more you're going to shake hands with people that know this person or that person, or they do those sort of things. And the more you're out there. And unfortunately, it's a lot harder when you get older. Like you said, we all have jobs and lives and families to feed. So it makes there's a dynamic that, a threshold that's like almost damn near impossible to cross that you could do in your, when you're in your 20s, you have responsibilities. But that doesn't mean you still can't have fun, So,
Yeah, for sure.
Right on, man. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more from you guys, and we'll definitely have to have you guys back.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys. Love you.
See you next
Just look at Mr. Handsome. He's
Right there.
There's-
No, yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. All right,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Much love, man.
All right.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man.
All right. Peace.
All
Bye.
right.
Well, that wraps up our amazing interview with Use of Man.
We hope you enjoyed diving into their musical journey, learning about their creative process, and discovering what the future holds for the band.
If you loved what you heard, go ahead and hit subscribe button so you never miss a beat from the ZHZ podcast.
Stay tuned for more groundbreaking music and inspiring stories coming your way.
Until next time, keep the music alive.
And catch you on the flip side.